Thank you, Dr. Shiba. Thank you. It was really a learning experience. The last two panel members, they really were spot on. And especially Ms. Roberta talked about innovation, bringing in marketing, which is really, which always is, and how do we do? The marketing is always just in time. It has to be real time, quick. How do you manage AI agents? How do you do all that stuff? Yeah. It's unique to each organization. As we have talked about governance, I'll give a brief uh, background in terms of what foundation is required, which is really very important and which is mandatory. We talked about governance, we talked about technology, leadership, transformation, but underneath all these pillars is one very important fact and factor, which is data. Now, data is where ethics either becomes real or it stays as a slogan. It will always stay as a slogan if this is not treated well, right? AI exists to serve people, right? It's this all automation, agentic AI is there to serve people, and that promise is only going to be as strong as the data you have. You get the right data, everything above it, you talk about trust, you talk about oversight, you talk about alignment, will be real, and you will have all the benefits realized. And from my experience, I would just give 2 cents in terms of what exactly is required before you talk about agentic AI. You need to have data, identify your data. What's your data? Then you discover your data and classify it. Where is my data lying? You will have shadow data, dark data, data in some of the machines that have not been used for quite some time, data in some VM on the cloud which you have never used, but it's very critical. Do the data discovery completely and classify your data as tier 1, tier 2, critical, important, and then do data correlation and integration across. Then you will have proper data quality assignment. You have the right data in place, and then you add the data governance layer and with enough stewardship, and then comes in security as a design, privacy as a design, access control as a design. Then when you have this data lineage and provenance tracking, you can understand from a data privacy perspective what is the data I need to retain for how much time, what is the life cycle of this data, how do I monitor data, and how do I continuously validate this data. Once all of this is done, then you say, hello agent, come and play with me. If any of these steps is missed, you'll hit a roadblock, and there'll be severities, operational severities, there'll be I would say data breaches because you have not governed your data well. So that's very, very important. This is out of my experience that I'm speaking with. Now, let's explore these dimensions. I'd like to uh, start with Dr. Sangeeta Sahi. If Dr. Sangeeta Sahi, you introduce yourself and let us know exactly what you bring to the table, then we can talk about our engagement and what I would like to hear from you. Over to you, Dr. Sangeeta Sahi.
Actually, Dr. Sangeeta has some electricity issue, so we'll start with Miss Suzanne.
Okay. Hi, Miss Suzanne Al Ghanem. How are you? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, Mr. Mubin?
Alhamdulillah, all is okay. Everything is okay. Nice to have you here. And please, if you can introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you so much. Any good afternoon or good evening or good morning, from around the world. My name is Suzanne Al-Ghanem. I'm the section head of Organizational Resilience and Business Continuity, working at the Environment Agency of Abu Dhabi for the past 15 and a half years. And my background is like a combination because I've worked I started in NGO and then got into hospitality and then finally working in a governmental sector, that gives me an overall of like almost 19 years, so I did come across and clashed with various like lines of work from food safety to audit to emergency management to health and safety down to the business continuity and enterprise risk management.
MashaAllah, a lot to learn from you.
Definitely. I learned so much from everyone around me, especially from Dr. Rashiba over the years that we came across like artificial intelligence. Like it's a big hot topic, specifically, now introducing the agentic AI, I basically like it's can be challenging, yet it's very highly beneficial. It's just how do you use it in the correct manner? Like whether you're coming from a government perspective or a private sector.
Absolutely. When we talk about resilience, I'll just go back to my experience. I was the program manager for the region's first tier 4 data center, which is in Injazat. Like, I
Mashallah.
was the program manager, years back, and I know BCM, how critical it is for organizations. You would probably have 3, 4 data centers, offline, offsite, with proper DR management policies. But if you don't understand resilience, you don't know what is just in time in terms of data availability, data security, everything falls flat. Yeah. So resilience has become a strategic priority for governments and enterprises alike. My question to you is, given your experience, how can agentic AI strengthen organizational resilience while ensuring business continuity, public trust, which is very important because I don't want to my data to be mistreated. Like, it has to be secured, taken care of well, and responsible risk management.
Definitely. Thank you so much for your question. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to break the answers into, like, based on the question, into two parts. Let's touch on, starting with how do we strengthen the organization resilience, like, through agentic AI. So agentic AI, it's fundamental and it changes how organizations anticipate, respond, and recover from what we've dealt with like previously in the past and currently with crises and disasters. So unlike, like regular traditional kind of automation systems that we're all used to, agentic AI, it can absorb patterns, and historical data, as everyone has mentioned, like from the beginning of the sessions today. And it helps to make decision making more defined, more clarified for our leadership, and it helps to coordinate, to take immediate, and appropriate actions, when it comes to dealing with crises and disasters. So from a resilience and a business continuity perspective, uh, in order to strengthen this kind of capability across organization, there are three types of dimensions. The first part is anticipation and early warning systems. So when you're utilizing agentic AI, it helps to enable continuous sensing by integrating data from our day-to-day operations. This can include, I'm just going to say in general, for every organization in the world that covers financial, supply chain, climate models, public information sources that are shared with the public. So rather than relying on static risks registers and periodic reviews like we normally do, organizations can easily detect what are the weak signals, and in early warning systems, what are the arising and emerging risks, or deviations from the day-to-day operations thresholds. So this can help to shift, resilience from a reactive response into a predictive preparedness.
Absolutely.
Second part is decision making, the support of leadership of decision making during disruptions of a crisis or disaster. So we've all learned, throughout many crises and through many disasters, we treat each one as different as possible because the learning and the lessons learned is completely different, although the response is the same. So during the incidents, leaderships tend to be overwhelmed by fragmented information, especially in a very short amount of time critical decision making itself. So when a crisis or disaster takes place, there's no time to overthink things. You need to have the correct information, the correct resources, the correct implementation and response on spot in order to make that decision as quickly as possible in order to mitigate these kind of like incidents and the risks. So agentic AI can help evaluate predefined scenarios, model potential impacts. Specifically, in a business continuity perspective, we focus on critical activities and recommend prioritize action, based on the recovery time objectives, resource availability, and the dependencies, like, whether you're depending on internal departments or other departments or externals, such as private sectors, vendors, contractors, and so on. So AI does not necessarily replace executive judgments. It helps to augment it, and it ensures the decisions are well-informed, evidence-based, and consistently aligned with the organization's continuity strategy. The last part, which is adaptive recovery and continuous learning. So resilient organization learn from disruptions and from various crises and disasters, like from previously, currently, and inshallah in the future. So agentic AI can help to track the recovery performance and help to compare actual outcomes against planned scenarios, and automatically recommends the in order to update what you need to update in the business continuity plans, what to focus on, what to, if in case you need to ensure further resources or identify certain kind of resources that has never been mentioned before. Again, we treat every crisis and disaster differently. And in addition to updating crisis playbooks, resource strategies, this helps to institutionalize learning and strengthening resilience maturity over time. Now, let's touch on how do we ensure the business continuity, public trust, and responsible risk management. So resilience built on AI does not compromise trust or accountability, in particularly in the government or public sector, as they say, where legitimacy and transparency is a must. It's like, it's really highly important. So based on my experience, there are 3 types of principles that are very essential. The first part is human in the loop governance, like our colleagues mentioned from the beginning of the session today.
Okay.
So the agentic AI must operate within a clearly defined mandates, escalation thresholds, ethical boundaries. Again, there's a constant myth about the agentic AI or AI in general. Again, an agentic AI cannot operate without someone giving that direction and instructions in order to operate. So strategic decisions, risk acceptance, trade-off must always remain with accountable leaders. This ensures continuity decision-making remain aligned with the organization's mission, vision, and values, legal responsibilities, and specifically the public interest. The second part of the principles is alignment with continuity and risk frameworks. So agentic AI should be embedded within the established business continuity, emergency management, risk management systems, information security, and many, many, many different fields depending on the organization. It should not be layered as a top or an isolated solutions. Today, departments are working in silos, and this is something we need to eliminate and we need to integrate rather than work in this kind of like culture environment. This includes alignment with recovery objectives, critical activity mapping, crisis command structures. So AI becomes a force that multiplier only when it strengthens existing governance rather than bypassing it. Lastly, transparency and explainability. It's important to be completely transparent. Public trust depends on the ability to explain how these decisions have been made, whether through a public sector, a government sector, or a private sector. Agentic AI must provide traceable logic, why certain actions were recommended, what kind of data has been utilized, and what assumptions were applied. So this is essential, for audit, for regulatory assurance, public confidence, just like, we owe it to ourselves to make sure that we align with our organization's mission, vision, and values, and we respond as effectively as possible using the correct and the right agentic AI. Again, you can't. I love when Roberta mentioned that, for like people you need to break that kind of culture stigma in order to trust the agentic AI. So again, for every agentic AI, there is always there has to be a human behind the agentic AI. And agentic AI cannot operate, cannot give all the correct information without giving the correct and accurate kind of information, data, and historical data that can help, that has helped us, over the years, and will definitely help in the future. Guys, am I audible?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Suzanne. I think Mr. Mubin is not able to hear you properly. So that's like, Mr. Mubin, are you there? I think he left. So the
I'm afraid that I scared him or something.
there are issues like, I would like to apologize on behalf of Ms. Dr. Sangeeta that she was willing to join, but she had some issues in the internet and electricity. And Mr. Abdul Mubin, are you there? So we are ready to conclude for today, and I would like to thank Mr. Abdul Mubin for great moderation and everyone in this round table. You all have given so great insight today, and it is so useful for all our listeners. And I would request all of you, I have already given a link of our YouTube channel where all these recordings are available. And these recordings are not just any video. These recordings from starting, if you will listen to them, it will give you a huge knowledge and great insights about what our leaders are saying. It is a kind of a training on agentic AI and ethical AI. So don't miss to subscribe our YouTube channel. And once again, I before concluding all the session, I would say that today's discussion had demonstrated that agentic AI is not only transforming technology, but it also reshaping the leadership, governance, resilience, and societies. As we just have listened from our great leaders here, Miss Suzanne has talked about the resilience, and this resilience is the core factor nowadays for any kind of disruption and disruptive technology, environmental disruption, and anything. So, all organizations must be ready with reactive and proactive resilience for their organization. Before we conclude, I would like to invite all the distinguished speakers uh, for our next collaborative session as well, because this is a kind of a journey of learning about the new era of technology. And WLC is very thankful for all of your support. Thank you, everyone. If anyone has any question from our esteemed speakers, please ask. Otherwise, we will collide the session. Thank you. Mr. Abdul Mabeen is here. So, at last. Mr. Abdul Mabeen, are you here? Okay. So, thank you so much once again, everyone. Mr. Abdul Mabeen, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, please conclude this
Okay.
session because
Thank you.
now Dr. Sangeeta will not join.
Okay, and it was really, Ms. Ghanem, what I learned, and a phrase which I'll be using quite often is traceability logic. This is very important. And how do you see, because you have experienced both the sides of the fence, private and government, public sector, how do you see the lessons learned which we accumulate over a period of time in public sector, and how they can help in elevating, private sector in terms of BCM, resilience, and especially around agentic AI? Of course, it won't be, we don't get that kind of mandate in public sector. It's all about public sector usually has, they are customer oriented. They don't have profit and loss as the major, but private sector is always based on P&L. So how do you see the governance lessons learned in public sector translated to private sector as fit for purpose during agentic AI rollouts and adoptions?
Thank you so much for your question. I always say, like, in almost all my the sessions I've been in, like in different platforms, preparedness, preparedness, preparedness. That is very, very important. If we are not prepared, if we don't prepare ourselves for the future, we won't be able to withstand, future local or global crisis or disasters. We've all witnessed many crises, over the years itself. So it's important to prepare your organization. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, public or private sector itself. You need to take a look at and revise and pay attention to these global risks, and try to learn from it, learn from other organizations, how you can actually try to be more resilient, take best practices. If you have to reach out to government entities, private entities, just to learn, how do you prepare yourself? And alhamdulillah, mashallah, if we compare ourselves to 10 years ago versus right now you have many platforms. Organizations are easily accessible, and especially best practices. So preparedness is key. That is very, very important. Keep an eye on global risks. It is very important. It's very essential. It's like, I love, one of my colleagues always tells me, read between the lines. Always. You never know what is hidden behind different risks, how it can implicate, organizations today. So you need to exercise your plans, and make sure that you enhance the capabilities of the organization, the resources, the employees, get them ready. Sometimes you have to be a broken record, to be able to get the message across. Yes, we are dealing with, culture resistance. This is something normal. You cannot blame, the end user, other employees, because they have a job to get done. But at the same time, you have to continuously be like a broken record and continuously, run. Sorry, there's an echo in the background. But you have to continuously repeat the message over and over and over, even if it makes their ears bleed, but that's okay. So as long as they get the message, and if we remember what happened when COVID took place, when COVID happened, as much as we have exercised and done the preparedness, we've done the due diligence, mashallah, organizations were able to bounce back very quickly, mashallah, and inshallah continuously will do so. We have to keep an eye out for the different risks. The other part is mission-centric resilience. Government sectors, define resilience around continuity of essential services. They do not profit in protection alone. So private organization, what they can do is that they can strengthen their resilience by clearly identifying their products and services, their obligations that are linked to their critical activities, to stakeholders, and designing their continuity strategies and those that surround their priorities, rather than treating it then operations as equal. The third is whole system coordination. Government resilience recognizes that no entity operates alone or in isolations. So public sectors need to take that into consideration. In institutional manner should not work in silos. Plans account for interdependencies across organization, departments, agencies. This includes utilities, suppliers, communities. So private sectors, what they can do is adopt this mindset, conduct a mapping, extended supply chains, third-party dependencies, shared infrastructure risks, ensuring resilience planning that extends beyond their internal boundaries. Do not be afraid to try something different, or to get different perspectives and apply it in the organization. Not everything applies in private sectors, but focus on what is common. The last part is, again, going back to governance. Governance before technology. We have a saying in business continuity: technology breaks. This is inevitable, so we have to constantly keep on upgrading technology continuously. We need to always monitor that perspective. So in the public sector or government sector, resilient tools are deployed within defined legal, ethical, and accountability frameworks. So what private sectors can take from this, they can what happens is that they sometimes rush to adopt to advanced technologies. This includes artificial intelligence without fully defining escalation authority, accountability, or failure models. So sustainable resilience requires governance maturity first, then technological enablements. If organization are planning to invest in technology or artificial intelligence, you need to ask the questions: okay, what is the purpose behind that? How is it going to benefit the organization? Is it going to strengthen the resilience? Is it going to enhance governance? What value does that add? So we need to take all of that into consideration. And I hope I didn't overstep with time. And if although I would love to continue the conversation, Salaha, but at the same time, I want to give the opportunity for anyone who have questions, or my other colleagues to join in to the panel discussion.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was very, very rich and insightful. Lots of takeaways. Thank you so much for your elaborations. Over to you, Dr. Shiva.
Actually, I would love to say, Abdul Mubin, that you conclude everything, because you have done a fabulous job today. So I would request you to conclude the whole session now by thanking
Ah,
everyone.
oh, thank you. Thank you to everyone. And we've learned so much. Oh, myself or Mr. Mubin, sorry.
Either of you, please contribute, and then we will conclude the session.
Definitely. So if it's okay with you, Mr. Mubin, I personally have learned so much, from all the panelists, Salaha, today. And key takeaways, governance is key. If you're going to utilize agentic AI, use it wisely. This links to future forecasting. And this is a hot topic for the past 5-6 years now. Future forecasting is necessary. We need to be able to work further to predict future risks, so we know how we can manage, how we can deal with them, and follow up with the global risks. This is very essential. Again, preparedness in order for organization to survive and be more resilient. There has to be cooperation, integration, collaboration on an institutional level, and on an external level. Today, we need each other in order to stay resilient and to stay focused. In the end of the day, we're protecting our organization, we are protecting the public, and we are protecting the country. Well, inshallah, we continue to do so, as long as we have strong resiliency, strong capabilities. Alhamdulillah, in the United Arab Emirates, we've overcome so much. All the countries in the world have overcome so many crises and disaster, because of the geopolitical risk itself. And inshallah, we continue to stay resilient. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for today's valuable discussion. And we are keep getting knowledge, and this knowledge and implementation at our organization. And of course, as you just have mentioned, Suzanne, to spreading the knowledge and making others enabled to apply the knowledge will make us successful every time. And really grateful to conclude this session by thanking extraordinarily moderation of Mr. Abdul Mubin and Mr. Misbah Khan, Mr. Muhammad Waqar Aslam, Mr. Nizar Turki, Miss Roberta Nicholas, Dr. Sangeeta Sahi, and Miss Suzanne Alganam. Your presence is quite valuable for us, and we really value the words which you have said. And be in touch for our next session. Thank you from my behalf. If anyone would like to say, otherwise, we will conclude.
Thank you, Dr. Shiba. Thank you, everyone. It was really intellectually invigorating. Lots of takeaways, lots of learnings, and lots of new connects we have here. And as we said, agentic AI, it's all about human in the loop, human on the loop, and we don't forget human out of the loop. So we connect with each other in forward learnings and make sure that we get up for the next sessions and have more meaningful conversations. And of course, ultimately, it has to realize in real life. Theories, practices, governance. Uh, in my 2 years back, I was working with the Ministry of Human Resource here. So one of the big consulting companies, they had come and they had laid out a big governance framework. It was lots of papers, lots of decks, but there was no realization, right? We had to prune the entire governance by 80%. Then what came out is just a 20-slide deck, and everything was okay. Because we have to trust humans. We have self-organized teams, give them leverage, give them empathy, and you have to be a servant leader. As we talk in agile leadership, you have to be a servant leader. Just help them do their work. Let your teams be self-performing. Trust them, and you will see they can do really very well, because you are one brain alone. You cannot think right, left, and center. You have to have team. You have to have a good team, develop trust, and you be a good leader, be empathetic, and also you should have very strong uh, experience and very strong domain knowledge, because in AI the problem is domain knowledge. People not having domain knowledge, they start creating agents right, left, and center, and it's always an mishap. Find out people in your organization who have domain knowledges, be friends with them, sit down, and then the governance can be played out well with a very small fit for purpose playbook. And then it's not difficult. It's only we have to let go our egos, let go our titles, big titles. Be a human being, empathize, sit with the team. You will see your organization will be wonderful, fruitful, benefits realized, and profit making.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Latif. So here
Thank
we
you.
will conclude this session. And I would request all the CIOs to bring more CIOs to WLC Congress, because our community is growing very fast and we have the core person of the worldwide CIO's mind into the WLC. So we request to bring more people so that we will be more knowledgeable and more stronger. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much and stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye.